Hey, welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about two of the most popular, most iconic, most cheapest, and most recognizable hotels on the Las Vegas Strip. One is called the Luxor, and if you can't tell by looking at it, it is an ancient Egyptian themed hotel and casino. The other is a big castle, and that one is a medieval themed hotel and casino. I'm going to cover location, I'm going to cover the pricing, and the amenities, the shows they have, the food they offer. So if you like to get the most for your money, leave a like on this video and let's get right into it. Why not start with the location? These hotels are right next to each other. The Excalibur is a bit closer to some of the action on the strip. So if you want to walk right on the strip, if you want to go shopping, then you're definitely going to want to pick the Excalibur because the Luxor is farther away. So if you're traveling with kids or if you're traveling with older parents, it's going to be a lot more walking just to get to some of the basic attractions. Now they do have a free tram inside the Luxor, but sometimes you have to wait for that for 10 minutes or more, and it can be really hot, especially during the summer months, over 100 degrees. So it isn't much of a difference, but it's enough to say the Excalibur wins in the category for location. So I'm going to give the Excalibur a 4 for location because it's not center strip, but it's center strip accessible. I guess you can certainly go to the center of the strip from staying at the Excalibur. But once you're at the Luxor, you're going to need to take a tram and walk, which really makes you think twice about getting to the center of the strip or even beyond. Some of the main attractions on the strip are right in the center. So you have the Bellagio fountains. Those are exactly in front of the Bellagio Hotel, which is right in the middle of the strip. I would say from your bedroom door, if you stay at the Excalibur, it's probably about 1 mile exactly of walking if you're just going to walk from the Excalibur to the center strip, because you're going to have to walk through the overpasses, the pedestrian bridges, you're going to have to walk through some casinos, and there is a free tram inside the Park MGM, which you can take to the center strip, but I've taken that many times and it really doesn't seem like it's much closer than walking because you have to go inside the hotel and weave your way all the way to the back through Park MGM, up several sets of escalators. I made a special video just about transport for Las Vegas. You can check that out if you're interested in knowing more. But overall, definitely a 4 for Excalibur, and I'm going to give the Luxor a 3. Excalibur is going to win in the location category. All right. The next thing you're going to want to know about is the pricing. The Excalibur is by far the cheapest hotel for the MGM properties. When you go on their website, you're going to have to scroll all the way down to the bottom. It's much cheaper than all the others. This Excalibur hotel is going to be starting somewhere around $19. When I stayed in September, that's what I paid. I stayed 2 nights. It was a Monday night and a Tuesday night, and the price was $19. For these Las Vegas hotels, they always add a resort fee. That's about $40 to $45. So overall, it was approximately $70 or something like that per night. And I think that's a great deal to be center strip accessible. And also there's so much shopping you can do in the area. There's a Ross, there's a CVS, there's a different M&M stores, there's a Hershey store. This is a great place to go with kids. I know I'm getting back into location, but generally speaking, for pricing, the Excalibur is cheaper than all the hotels. The second cheapest is the Luxor. The Luxor is going to be starting, I've gotten rooms there as low as $27 per night. If you can get a tower room, I do recommend that. Those are more rectangular shaped. They don't have those angular windows that make the room seem smaller. But if it's your first time in Vegas and you do choose the Luxor, I will say that why not try a pyramid room, because that might be fun. The hotel is actually just a giant pyramid itself, so that could be a fun thing to do. But once you do it once, if it's your second time, definitely pick the tower. It's a couple bucks more expensive per night, $2 or $3, but it's just bigger, it's nicer, and I don't think you can smoke there. Like the casino isn't in there, so I think the rooms are fresher. So for the pricing category, I'm going to say that out of a 1 through 5 stars, I'm going to give the Excalibur 5 stars because you can't get any cheaper. And then I'm going to give the Luxor 4 stars because you can't get any cheaper for MGM except for the Excalibur, with the Luxor. The Luxor provides excellent value at that price. Let's move on to the amenities. So, for people visiting Vegas, I think most people, as far as amenities, what you get included in that resort fee, I think what people really are looking for is a good pool. So, if you're gonna go there and spend a lot of time at the pool, the main thing to look at is how big they are and if you're going to be comfortable there. So the Luxor is going to have the edge here. I'm going to say that it's a much nicer pool. It's bigger. You have more options there. There are more shaded areas because it's closer to a building, so you can get shade at certain parts of the day. The Excalibur, there really isn't any shade, and you can purchase additional umbrellas. You can't bring your own, but if you get your umbrella rental, it's pretty pricey. I don't remember what the cost was, but it's high. So limit your time in the sun, I think, is best. Otherwise, you're going to be pretty tired. But anyway, so as far as the bar and the menus for food, they're exactly the same. Basically, the Luxor prices are a little bit higher than the Excalibur on the menu, like $2 or $3 more. So overall, I would rate the pool at the Luxor as a 4, and then I'm gonna give the pool at the Excalibur maybe a 2 actually, because there's no frills. It's a real basic pool with no shade or anything. So I would rate that pretty much at the bottom end. So if you really like pools and it's a deal breaker, definitely don't pick the Excalibur in this category. Next, let's move on to the other main amenity is the casino. So these casinos, both of them are huge. I think both of them have over 1,000 slot machines. If you go through the Excalibur casino, there are tons of poker tables and there's a high roller room, slot machines everywhere you go. There's always one available. Maybe not Saturday nights, but most of the time I had no issue getting the slot machine that I wanted. It's not like some of the other hotels that are much more crowded at the slots. And then the Luxor also has a lot of slot machines. I don't prefer the slots at Luxor as much. I feel like the ceilings are a bit low and it's just a darker casino. And I just haven't had as much luck there. So, in general, just based on my preference, I do feel like the Excalibur is a better casino. Oh, and by the way, we always wipe the machines before we start playing, and the Excalibur is always much cleaner. So, as far as choices, I think they're both pretty much equal. As far as the experience, I think that the Excalibur is quite a bit cleaner and it's just a friendlier place overall. It just seems the staff is just nicer in the casino areas and there's more people offering you drinks and things like that. So definitely I'm going to give the Excalibur a 4 and I'm going to give the Luxor a 3. I really don't even just like to be gambling in there. So when I do stay there, I still go gamble at the Excalibur. So 4 for the casino for Excalibur and 3 for the casino of Luxor. So in the Luxor, they have the Titanic show. I have been there a few years ago. I didn't find it too interesting, but I can't, that's just not my thing. I did go to the Tournament of Kings at Excalibur. I have done things like that before. That's a dinner and a show watching a medieval horses and knights battling it out and things like that. I did do that last time I was there and it was fun. I got coupons for free with my Vegas rewards. I made a video about that. You can check my channel. You can watch that video. But that was a great show and I was better than I expected. I did something like that as a kid when I was maybe 12 years old or so. So it had been a long time since I experienced that. The food was good. There was a lot of smoke in the show and there's not much ventilation. So if you're sensitive to smoke, I would say maybe bring a mask. Okay, so let's talk about another amenity that we all care about, and that is the buffets. So in Vegas, they're starting to get rid of buffets, but for some reason, the Luxor and the Excalibur still both have full buffets. And again, with my Vegas rewards, I don't work for them and they don't pay me, but I do take advantage of their 2-for-1 coupons. Both of these hotels have comparable buffets. They're about $30 after tax each per person. They don't have a dinner buffet, it's a lunch buffet. So, I think it runs around until about 2 o'clock. So you're still going to need to go to dinner. So you got to decide if that's worth it. I wouldn't call it a value at $30, but 2-for-1, definitely a value. The Excalibur does have the edge on that one. I'm not going to talk too much about the buffet, but I did feel like the Excalibur buffet had a lot more options in general, and it was bigger, more comfortable place to sit down and relax. So I do recommend both buffets, especially if you stay at the Luxor and you don't want to walk over to the Excalibur. Then in that case, I would do the buffet at Luxor. As far as basically comparing both of these hotels, I would say definitely the Excalibur. And I would put that one at a 4. Excalibur's a 4. And the Luxor, actually, I'm going to give the Luxor a 3.5 because it's not much of a difference, but Excalibur does edge it out by just a little bit. As a final thought on this video, I originally made a comparison video and I said I would recommend both hotels equally, but now after it's a few months later, I think I made my last comparison in June. I've had a much better time at Excalibur than the Luxor. I've stayed at the Luxor a few times this summer, and the room cleanliness was definitely an issue. The customer service there, it wasn't great. I had a few experiences a few different times, and I can tell the employees sometimes they just don't really like working there, or the rooms not being cleaned that well makes me feel like they lack training, or maybe they don't care that much. But the Excalibur, I've heard time and time again by the people that work there that they like working there. I always see the staff are friendly and they seem to like working there, and so that does make a big difference to me as far as how I feel when I'm at the hotel. And so I would say that both of these hotels are worth staying at, especially at the low end, or if you've stayed at the Excalibur, why not try the Luxor? I'm not going to say don't stay there, but if you're going to pick one, I'm definitely going to say go for the Excalibur. It's cheaper, it has a better location, and overall, based on all my comments, I think it's an overall better value, which is what I think we all try to get from our vacation. Thanks for watching, and you can watch one of these videos next to help maximize your travel.